Hello, I want to briefly explain how to pursue a harmonic analysis of a piece of music that modulates. Um, well, it's not always so easy to find modulations to identify them, but what we can generally look for is, of course, we want to identify the overall key. And in most music, in most tonal music, at least in classical and even in romantic music, there is an overall key in which the piece starts and ends, but in between there may be modulations. So here, this piece is in G major. It has the key signature for G major, but we also see that it starts in G. And if we go to the very end of this movement, we can see it ends in G as well, right here. Okay, so we even can look for cadences. If we look for a cadence, then of course we look for a D major chord or a D major minor seventh chord resolving to G, like D7 to G, D7 to G, right? So back to the beginning. Now, we don't see extra accidentals. It's because we are in a major key. We don't need extra accidentals as long as it stays within the same key. But if we start seeing extra accidentals, that may be an indication that there is a modulation taking place. So no extra accidentals here, but if we go to the next line, there we have a C sharp, C sharp, a C sharp, we have a G sharp, a G sharp, C sharp, C sharp. So C sharp throughout. So that one of the accidentals that we need to use, or the composer needs to use, is to create the leading tone. And so in this case, it happens to be C sharp is the new leading tone to D, right? So here, in fact, we want to look for resolutions. And here we have a C sharp chord, C sharp, E, E, G. A diminished triad in first inversion, a C sharp chord resolving to D, right? So there are resolutions that we can find, and the accidentals are being sustained. Now, this seems to be the end of a phrase or some kind of formal unit, but it ends on A. But it is very likely because this may be the dominant and has also a dominant pedal. And if we go to the next system here, we see, well, it starts on A, but it goes scale-wise down to D, right? So this is, in fact, outlining a D major triad with some passing tones in between. So we have A chord resolving to D. But the very first resolution took place here from C sharp diminished in first inversion to D. So this chord here is the chord that works best in the new key. So very often we find a common chord, and the common chord would be the chord immediately before the first dominant functioning chord, immediately before the first chord that works best in the new key. So this chord here, the third beat, is most likely the common chord, which happens to be G, B, D. So that means a G major triad, and we are coming from the key of G major here. So it's a one chord um, one chord in the key of G, um, and it becomes a four chord in the key of D, in the new key of D. So the common chord is not a chord that we can orally identify, because if we just play up to this point and we would stop the music, we would just say, well, we're in the key of G. But it is a chord that makes the transition to the new key very smooth. Whenever there is a common chord, it makes it smoother modulation, right? So we identify the chord before the dominant usually as the common chord. And so this is not the dominant as in Roman 5, it's a dominant functioning chord as in Roman 7, the new Roman 7, 7 diminished 6, resolving to 1. So we look for resolutions, and we can do this also orally. So I always suggest listen to the music and stop the music at any time and try to identify where the tonic is. Try to sing the tonic. Play the music through the end of the phrase or even the middle of the phrase, stop it, and try to identify where the tonic is. And if we feel pretty strongly about where we feel the certain tonic, most likely that's where the new tonic is, or that's where in which key we are in. So it's always a good thing to do. So just listen to it, stop the music, and try to sing the tonic. But visually look for extra accidentals, and then also look for dominant tonic resolutions or leading tone chord tonic resolutions.